This is far from over, this fire danger, despite what appears so far to have been a magnificent effort from authorities, including having brought under control this fire in South Turramurra. This is in Sydney, in the northern suburbs there. We saw the fire retardant that was dropped there that had a big impact. Charlotte Mortlock, our reporter, is on the scene. Charlotte, we've had a fire as well burning near the Lane Cove River. Some extraordinary pictures over the last hour of houses under threat. But it seems as though Watch and Act is now the official warning, so that's got to be good news for residents.
Yeah, absolutely good news, Tom. But of course, firefighters across the Greater Sydney region, which should have that catastrophic rating for today, they have had their work cut out for them. Luckily, as you say, the fire burning here where I am on Canoon Road in South Turramurra, it has now been downgraded to a Watch and Act level. We did know that Turramurra was going to be one of the troublesome areas today, and because of that, we actually saw the local high school closed because of its close proximity to the bushland. We saw some ember attacks at these homes behind me. You can see there is still a huge presence from not only New South Wales RFS but also Fire and Rescue New South Wales. These ember attacks, we were warned about them. We were told that because of the strong winds that we have seen today, in some cases we've seen winds up to around 80 kilometres an hour. These ember attacks could be some 30 kilometres ahead of the fire front, and that's what we saw exactly happening here in South Turramurra. We saw these spot fires popping up, but you'll see very quickly fire personnel racing to these homes, and they would bring them under control. So that is unbelievable work by the fire personnel here. We also had the large air tanker that was in use, and as you said, that is why we see some of these roofs covered in a pink retardant that is so important in protecting these homes. Still, even now that this has been downgraded to a Watch and Act, every few minutes we are still seeing the helicopters coming over and putting some water and dousing water over the bushland. Now, the back bushland here, not only does it also back onto one of the biggest netball associations in Sydney, it also backs on to a Girl Guides hall, and very importantly, it's in extremely close proximity to the San Hospital in northern Sydney. So it's been a massive, team effort by all firefighters from Fire and Rescue and RFS to bring this blaze under control. It is an important one that they do try and contain because of its close proximity to not only homes but also that infrastructure I mentioned.
Charlotte, you mentioned as well that fire retardant. We got the, well, I suppose, reassurance there from Shane Fitzsimmons, because it's on quite a few homes there, that the dye is added just so they know where they've actually dropped things during these firefights, and it is safe to basically hose off properties.
Yeah, we're even seeing now, I'm not sure if you can see behind me, I think most of it's finished, but they were even hosing off the fire trucks from that retardant, because they have been going through for the past hour or so, dropping that retardant to ensure that these properties are protected. It's been certainly something that has been really pretty unbelievable to see in person here. It's still pretty chaotic. There's a lot of smoke around as well, and you can see there's still probably maybe 12 fire trucks and still probably 100 or so firefighters on the scenes here. Now, obviously, we know that there is the chance that we will see more fires across the Greater Sydney region sparking up and going to an emergency level before the night is out. So they need to try and contain this blaze as quickly as possible so they can free themselves up to go to the next blaze. We know that this cold front isn't actually expected to hit Sydney until around 6 or 8 p.m. tonight. So that means that we could still have a few hours in this very critical danger zone, because ahead of that cold front, we actually see the winds increasing. Now, that could see winds potentially up to 80 or even 100 kilometres an hour across parts of Sydney, which would really exacerbate the problem for the firefighters on the ground.